So the movie we're talking about today is Nomadland, winner of a bunch of Golden Globes and all that shit. It's currently on Hulu, which I'm glad. I'm like, one, I have enough streaming services as it is, and two, it's like, God, when you're like, I have to pay for how many more movies? Um, I wish I saw this in theaters. I mean, I think technically it's out in some theaters, but you get what I mean. So yeah, I watched it, at home on Hulu, and I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. And I'm not just saying it because I'm like, oh, it's directed by like an Asian woman, and it's a female lead, like any of that stuff. Like, no, I really enjoyed this. Even again before Golden Globes, just seeing, like, just some screenshots, some commercials and stuff for the movie. I'm like, this is interesting. This is definitely something that most movies don't really like do nowadays. And I really feel like this movie at times, I'm not the only one because a couple people I follow on like Letterboxd said the same thing, where it felt like documentary in a sense, not in a bad way, but just, you're with these people, you're with the main character and you're with these people so much that like you're like, this is real, So yeah, I guess I should just say, like, quick synopsis. This movie's about a woman, Frances McDormand's character. Um, she's like, she got nothing, so she got a van, and then she's just trying to like deal with life. She's just like, all right, well, what am I gonna do? I'm just going to hop from place to place, job to job, and that's it. That's like her. I realize I keep saying the journey, but that's what these movies are. It's a journey, it's an adventure into someone's life. And yeah, you get to see her go from like sleeping on these campgrounds, getting kicked out of parking lots and stuff, and um, all that shit. I don't think there's really like spoilers really for this movie because it's like kind of self-explanatory. It's like, again, it's like what you see in the trailer, it is what the entire movie is about. I guess there's some little like things here and there I won't really delve into. Um, like I said, I do suggest watching this movie. But yeah, so yeah, it's like getting kicked out of like a parking lot because they're like, no overnight parking, crazy lady who lives in a van kind of stuff. And just like her meeting all these other people who like that's their lives as well. They either have a van like her, or some of them it's like more of a mobile home. One lady was like, I sleep in a Prius, and I'm just like, oh Jesus, that's worse. What I also liked about it is that like 98% of these people who are in this lifestyle that she runs into, they're all like her age and older. There's like a couple people here and there that are like maybe my age. I think they're probably much younger. Like have baby face, so they're like much younger, who are just like, I'm just gonna rough it, just hit the road kind of stuff. I felt that was really interesting because there in the past like 4 or 5 years there has been like an uptick of people my age doing van life stuff. Like, that's like the new vlogging thing of like van life, da da da. They make it seem cute, they're like, I just like souped up my van and it looks like this and I can live like this. Which is like, for me, in theory, looks cute. Looks kind of like, it's also for me like things like minimalist shit where it's like, that's cool, you can just literally bare minimum, blah blah blah, but then like, then I'm also a nerd and I like collect things. And I'm also like a prop maker, and it's like, where am I going to just like make shit, like I like, hold my supplies and then make my big shit, like that doesn't really work out for me unless like I'm driving like a fucking tour bus or so. Even then it's like, no, like I'm gonna need actual space and things. There was like with like this guy who's like kind of popular doing like van life in Japan, which I understand, especially like a country like Japan, very frowned upon. At the same time, like his thing was like, his van looked so fucking awesome, and he's like, oh yeah, just like park in like near like a national park or something, and I sleep on my roof and on a tent. And I'm like, yeah, because it's not like here where someone's just gonna fuck with you, But anyway, I like that a lot of these people in the movie, we're going back to the movie now, after talking about real life stuff, I like that a lot of these people in the movie, their vehicles aren't the best. Again, it's not like hashtag van life vlogging and all that stuff. It's just like, I'm doing what I can. I'm just drilling things into this thing. I mean, it's just like, it felt real, which again is why you have like that kind of, documentary feel to it when you're watching the movie. Also, I was looking on IMDb afterwards, and I realized that, Frances McDormand aside, mostly everyone else are actual people who live this lifestyle, because their actual names are their character names, which again plays with that the feel, again, like I said, documentary style, when you're watching the movie and the way how they're communicating. Like there's conversational. It's like it's when you're recording a conversation. That's what I mean. Then there's recording dialogue for a scene. Like there's difference in how like things are planned and metered, where it's like I talk like and even in like a movie where there's supposed to be, let's say, an argument, or someone is stepping over your lines, like that kind of stuff, and it's planned and metered, it's still very planned and metered. Whereas here, and they're talking, it's just, it really feels like, again, documentary style, where you're just watching people talk, and then someone goes, oh yeah, like that obvious conversation thing. Which, learning that, like, oh, these people aren't actors, they are real people that they've kind of got and played in this, to the point where I think I saw on IMDb some, again, how true this is, but one of the people, did, like, not one of the people, most of them didn't even know that Frances McDormand is an actress. They thought she was just one of us, kind of thing. And there's a line where where Frances McDormand's character delivers about her past and all that stuff. And one of the people went up to her afterwards and was like, thank you for sharing that, and da-da-da. And she goes, oh, no, like, that's part of my character. No, like, my husband is one of the Coen brothers, that kind of shit. Like, they were like, what? And I think that's great, again, it helps with the realism of this film, because you're talking about this whole thing of economic crisis, like the 2008 shit happened, because this movie takes place in like 2011, 2012 kind of stuff. So it's like that, the market shit happened, and then people are just trying to like pick themselves up from their bootstraps, that kind of shit, and just trying to like deal, and it's just great to watch that, and then to like go along with Frances McDormand's character's journey on what she should do, and how, with any kind of, I guess you would say, alternative lifestyle, there's always going to be people who are going to be like, hey, I've got a room here, you can, just be here until you can da-da-da, and she's like, no, this is my thing. Or there's other people who are like, no, don't ever get settled down, that's terrible, go in debt buying a house, stupid, van, that kind of stuff. So, it was really interesting to see. Also, shot beautifully. Fucking hell, this movie shot beautifully. Besides seeing, like, the beautiful American countryside, which really, that shot beautifully, lit well. Most of it, I think it's all just natural lighting. I don't think there was any additional shit, because even, like, the sunset scenes and all that stuff, it's just that, the extra light would be, like, from the campers and the fire pits and all that stuff, so that was really good. And it was also just, like, just seeing, like, again, Frances McDormand's character going to be like, I'm gonna go and, like, work at Amazon. And at first, part of me is like, oh, is this movie, like, I thought, like, this movie was gonna have, like a slight other agenda kind of thing, being like, Amazon, that kind of thing. I mean, it really could have, if it wanted to, but it didn't. Yeah, it's just a really fucking good movie. Again, again, before I realized, like, the other people were, just regular actual people, I was just like, I like that they didn't, like, hire pretty people. Again, like, I really like that it was just like how just legit it all was, because again, it could have been like Frances McDormand running into, like, van life vlogger kind of person, what I mean? It could have just been like, cringe. It could have just been one of those kind of things, but I'm I'm glad it wasn't. I'm glad it showed a bunch of people who were her age, you know, like who were doing that kind of van life stuff, and also like mainly because like again, a lot of people are doing it that are my age are doing it in a sense out of necessity because a lot of us cannot afford houses. We can't even afford apartments at times and all that stuff, but we can afford a vehicle and some gas and shit. You know, that kind of stuff. It's like a necessity thing, and it's like, well, this is what I have to do. Whereas, like, her character and a lot of those older people, they do it because either fuck it, they retire and they're like, well, so am I gonna do hit the road? Or it was just kind of like, or really just fuck it, you know, because they're like, I'm old, I don't want to just like be home all the time and like, you know, just just be, you know, be home and kind of waste away, you know, in my old age. It's like, fuck it, I still have the ability to move around, let me just van life it kind of stuff. Again, just very interesting to see that. That's not like that's not really like the lifestyle I would ever see myself do, you know, again, because like I'm also a very large person, and like, you know, me and vehicles are just like, oh, okay, it's a just here for a drive. Like, I like going for drives. That's great. You know, but I don't want to be like, this is everything in a vehicle. Like, I'm just like, you know, for me. um, I'm also a privileged, like, person in my age for having a home, like a house. So, just saying. I like traveling. I do. I like grabbing a suitcase and going to places and but then coming home to this broken house, you know? This house that's slowly falling apart and shit, you know? Yeah. Um, again, like, I'm just like, it's my usual reaction of, I'm so angry that this is so good. I'm glad. I'm glad that finally this year they're like, okay, we're gonna have to release some good movies, guys. You know? Because it's like, I get it. I get why they didn't do it last year, but it just opened the doors for like everyone to release their shit movies because they're like, well, there's nothing else you like can watch that's new. You have to watch my shitty movie, and it's like, oh god. Now I'm like, oh thank god, there's like good stuff coming out. Oh my god. I hope, you know. I hope she cleans house. Like, I hope Chloe cleans house at freaking the Oscars, just like Parasite, man. Like, I was like when I was streaming the Golden Globes that night, I was like, yo, this is gonna be Parasite 2.0. Let's do it again for the Asian people, you know. um, but yeah, just there's not much else to say. It's just this is a really good movie.